What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. I'm joined by Tyler. Welcome back to our Death Stranding community series, a community series that airs on our channel every single Thursday, leading up to Death Stranding releasing exclusively on the PS4 on November 8th. Now, this is a series of videos where we're talking about the game, and last week, for the very first video in this community series, we talked about everything that confuses us. Tyler and I went back and forth, and we kind of talked about that this game, obviously, I think a lot of people know this, right, has some very confusing aspects to it, and will that, in this video, basically, we're going to take the next step. How is that going to affect the game? Will this game actually fail? And it's a very, very fair question to ask. You see a lot of polls on Twitter. You see a lot of people asking the question, and this does scream the kind of game that has a lot of hype, has a lot of people looking forward to it. Does that translate to sales numbers, or does that translate to it's like a big internet game? Like, people will play it, a few, right? And a few is depending on whatever number you want to say. And online, there'll be, the videos for it, say, even. Those videos will get millions. And you look at it, and the trailers for Death Stranding are like the biggest trailers PlayStation has ever had. They're bigger in terms of viewership than The Last of Us. They're bigger than anything, times like 5, that Xbox has, Microsoft. And so you look at it, and like clearly, there's people that are interested in this game. It's, again, the most viewed, I'd say the most viewed game, and the kind of the most known about game that PlayStation 4 has ever had. More than Uncharted, more than Spider-Man, more than The Last of Us Part 2. That's saying something. But is that just kind of like all the hearsay, all the people talking about the game, all the people being like, this game, I have no effing clue what's going on. Hideo Kojima, we know what he's done. We know that he, very, very smart, very, very talented, but like, can you keep up with whatever he's trying to do? That's kind of the stigma he has. That's the stigma his games have. And so you could raise the question of, is that why this game is so popular? When the game actually comes out, what are we looking for it to do? In my personal opinion, I think this game is not going to be considered a failure. I don't think anybody would ever say that, like Sony-wise or Hideo himself. I think this game is going to do well. I don't think this game, and Tyler said before, we were recording, like comparing it to like a Spider-Man or an Uncharted, stuff like that, I don't think it's going to sell as much. Uncharted and Spider-Man sold over 10 million copies. The Last of Us Part 2, I personally believe, will sell like 15 plus million. That is a lot. That is a ton of copies sold. Death Stranding, I feel like, is going to be that level above Days Gone, but below the rest. And I'm actually not even sure. I believe Horizon was in like the 7 to 9 million range. It could be around there. I feel like Death Stranding is going to find itself in that 5 to 6, 7 million copy threshold. I feel like that is where it's going. And I guess the question you could ask yourself is, if it does better than Days Gone, but worse than, name the 5 games: Uncharted, God of War, The Last of Us Part 2, all these exclusives, Spider-Man. If it does worse than all those, do you consider it a failure? I think in a way you definitely could, because of all the hype, because it's Hideo Kojima, because of all the YouTube stuff with these videos being as big as they are. You could say, like, well, where was the people to support the game? And then I guess after that you would say, well, who's to blame for that? Or is there anybody to blame? That's the biggest question we have for you guys is, will this game fail? That's up to you to answer. And also, what does that mean? If the game gets like 8s out of 10s, like an 8 out of 10 score, is that considered the game failing because you expect these Sony exclusives? I think Days Gone was one of the first one in a long, long time. All these Sony exclusives were used to getting 9s and higher, right? Like overwhelming across the board. Days Gone was coming out with 6s, with 7s, and it's like, ooh, we normally don't get high-end PlayStation exclusives that get those scores. So if Death Stranding gets that, what does that mean for the game? If it sells below what we kind of expect these massive games, and I think further to the point, even with Sony, I don't know what Sony expects of this game, and that kind of scares me. We see the leadership change with Sean Layden gone. What does that mean for the future of Hideo Kojima? It's only this game. He can make whatever game for whatever company he wants to make after this game. It's only this one video game, only Death Stranding. Would Sony want to throw him another deal if after all of this money, after all this stuff they put into it, if it, quote unquote, whatever they consider it, fails? What would that actually mean for them? Does that mean they just let him go? I think having Hideo Kojima as a Sony first party, thing, if they bought Kojima Productions, if he was just making Sony exclusives for the rest of his life, that would be quite the win. I don't think that'll ever happen. I think after the Konami situation, he probably doesn't even want that in his life anymore. But, it's an interesting question. I personally do not think, and this is what's actually really great about this community series, is Tyler and I do not agree with on much about this game, and normally we agree on everything. So it's really, really cool that we have different opinions. I don't think it's going to fail. I think it'll sell 5 to 7 million copies, and if that happens, yeah, people may say it would fail, and you definitely have an argument to be made there when you hold it up to the other big exclusives. But I think for what it is, I don't think it's a failure. You could again argue that it should do more, and I think that's the point that is definitely very, very valid. It should 100% do more, and I think it's because it's Kojima and because it's very, very confusing that it won't actually do more. So, Tyler, what do you think? Is it going to fail?
I actually don't see Death Stranding doing all that great, and the reason is because nothing about the game, simply because a lot of people around that time of year wait for Black Friday because they feel like, well, maybe I'll save $10 or $15 or whatever, which does happen because, I mean, you take a look at all Ubisoft games, just like Assassin's Creed Odyssey came out late October, and it was 50% off on Black Friday. So personally, I now know I will never buy any fall Ubisoft game ever again because all I have to do is wait till Black Friday, and I can save 50%. So there's people who really think that they can just save money waiting. And what will happen, though, is there's going to be games, possibly like, Pokemon comes out the week after. There's going to be some people who aren't going to want to wait on Pokemon. And Nintendo tends to not really have Black Friday sales anyway. Not really, especially when it's that close. So that's not going to go on sale. A lot of people that have a Switch or that are maybe thinking about getting a Switch, if they don't have a Switch, they're probably going to wait for Black Friday to get it. So they're going to be putting out more money on, for the Switch, the console, and also the Pokemon game. Are you going to buy Death Stranding? I don't know if you have a PS4 or whatever. I don't know. It's just, I hope you understand what I'm saying. The holiday season makes it a very not good time of year. It's a very busy time of year. Death Stranding is clearly a game that takes at least 30, 40 hours for you to probably understand it or enjoy it, fully enjoy it, sitting there. I don't think a lot of people have that kind of time anymore. I really don't, especially if you're a father or whatever. You got your kids home because of the holiday break. It's just it's that time of year. So really, it's kind of like, do people drop $60 on launch or at release? And they drop $60 to play a game that they might not actually play, or do they take a chance, maybe it's on sale, wait till Black Friday, and then maybe not even then. Maybe they get a freaking Keurig, I don't know, but maybe not even then do they get it. So that positioning right before the holiday makes that mindset of, well, I can just wait and maybe I'll get it on sale, but they're already thinking about that for probably 100 different items. Again, if you have kids and you're thinking of Christmas stuff, it's like, oh, you know what? Shoot, I really want to get them that. I'm going to get it on Black Friday. All of a sudden, well, maybe I'm not going to get Death Stranding because it's not a game that I can just sit down and just play and enjoy and stop. It's not one of those games. So I really, truly do think the holiday season alone, Black Friday, Christmas, everything surrounding all of November and December hurts Death Stranding because of the game that it is. If it wasn't a game like that, then it would do probably phenomenal. We will see. Again, there's going to be a Death Stranding PlayStation 4. I think it was a Pro bundle, or a special edition. Why would you buy that when you know PS5 is coming out in a whole year? 12 months. Why are you going to buy a brand new? You're not going to buy a brand new console. Not for just Death Stranding. I just don't see it. So, if it was Spider-Man, again, that's something that you can just kind of, if you don't even want to play the story, if you just want to swing around, you could. This isn't that kind of game. So I really, truly believe maybe 5 million copies, probably max, and that's it. So, I'm hoping they do better. I really do. I just don't see it. I really can't see it.
Very fair. I mean, definitely two different ways you can look at this game. I think this is really how people are looking at this game. So, guys, where do you kind of fall on this? Do you think it's going to be a failure? Do you not? Are you going to be getting it? Very interesting. I'm really interested to see, the time we're recording this, the first video hasn't gone up either. I want to see what kind of the reaction of the channel is to this game. How split are you guys? Maybe we could have some polls go up as well, because I really think, just in general, this game is very split amongst its fans and its detractors, and I wonder how our channel is as well. So let us know all that stuff in the comments below. Make sure you guys are subscribed and hit that bell icon. And again, we're going to be covering this game leading into its release. I'm getting it day one, so we will be covering it. We're giving the game actually away for free on the day it releases. So lots of Death Stranding videos coming up, and we hope to see you guys there.